Aloha! What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's show. I'm JayDreamerZ. Welcome to my channel if you're new here. So I do a series. I do many series. One of my series is called Ancient Oblivion, the Plasma Apocalypse. Another one is just Ancient Oblivion here on my channel. I wrote a book. My first book was called Ancient Oblivion, the Plasma Apocalypse. The book I'm now working on is part 2 in that series, which is called Return to Hyperborea. Now, today when I was working on my book, I was writing some stuff and I really wanted to share it, basically. Really wanted to share some of the stuff. And I was just going to do a presentation, but I thought, you know what, it might be cool if I just read it straight from my book. And that way, it can be kind of a preview for, people who don't know about my work. And for those who do, you get like a free little taste of things that I'm working on over here on my side of things. So today we're going to be talking about specifically my studies were pertaining to, in this particular section of my book, I'm writing about the Garden of Eden. Okay, and I'm actually writing about like the physical, what does it look like? But I got into the flaming sword. Okay, so if you don't know the story, Adam and Eve were, kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and God blocked the way, basically, put up a barrier. And it says that it was guarded by cherubs, or cherubim, however you'd like to say that, and a flaming sword. So that's really what we're going to be focusing on. There's these different clues that I start off with about the physical, actual, terrestrial location of the Garden of Eden here on Earth, in our world, okay, our realm that we live in. So we're going to start things off. Let me say hello to everybody in the chat. I don't want to be rude. Hello, everybody in the chat. It's good to see you all tonight. Thanks for joining me today. All right. So I'm just gonna press on, and all of these pictures hopefully will make sense as we go over these things. Now, clue number 5. At the east of the Garden of Eden, there are cherubim and a flaming sword, which turns every way to guard the path leading to the tree of life. Adam and Eve were forced out of the Garden of Eden and locked out. In the Bible, this verse literally says, according to the transliteration in the Interlinear Bible, to the east of the Garden of Eden, cherubim and of flame a sword, whirling, to guard the way to the tree of life. Now, in Hebrew, the word used for of flame or flaming is lahat, spelled phonetically, as I do here in the book, or how it sounds when it's spelled in English, which is a word that may imply fire, but in ancient times it was generally used to describe the glow of the fire, not the fire itself. It implies flame, blaze, glow, fervor, zeal, and enchantment. The description of enchantment is in connection with these other meanings is particularly of interest in the context of this flaming sword. The same word, lahat, is used in the Bible passage describing the magic that was used by the Pharaoh's court magicians when they were in a sort of wizard's duel against Moses. Now, I believe that the word flaming was used to describe this sword protecting the entrance into Eden, was used to describe a type of fire that was unknown by the writers. They would have seen it as magic fire or a mysterious fire. When this magic fire causes harm, it was seen as a type of weapon, a sword or dagger of flame. This sword of flame is said to be moving in every which way, as described in many translations of the Bible. But literally, it translates into whirling. Now, we can imagine the motion of this glowing weapon. It spins. The same word is used in the book of Job when describing a swirling storm, in Job 37:12. This is how only one sword could guard an area as large as the Garden of Eden. It encircles it. The glowing weapon encircles the garden, which encircles the Garden of Eden, is an electric field of plasma. It follows the magnetic current of the island surrounding the magnetic mountain at the center, and this creates a physical force field, which would glow and cause harm to any who attempted to pass through it without proper protection. It's not a wall. It conforms to the shape of the magnetic dome encircling the island. It is a swirling electromagnetic dome of plasma which covers the entire island. Most of the energy, or ionized gas, bursting forth from the central plasma volcano escapes the magnetic dome around the island, but some will become trapped within the magnetic field conforming to its shape. Plasma is easily repelled by a magnetic current, which also helps to explain the velocity at which it's expelled from inside of the Earth, because those cavernous systems are probably magnetized. This helps to understand why the circular island at the North Pole is a valley surrounded by steep, very steep mountains. These mountains are likely basalt column-like structures from which form when wet earth is pulled up into the sky. The positive charge in the earth is so overwhelmed by the nearby negative charge that it lifts up into the air, pulling mud, silt, and other earthen debris along with it. When these columns of mud physically touch the strong electric current of the plasma dome, they petrify, leaving behind steep earthen wall-like mountains which encircle the island. These mountains would be areas of high electric charge, producing all forms of anomalous electrical activity. This is energetic dome protecting or guarding the way or the entrance to the Tree of Life, which is Mount Meru, the plasma volcano, and is also seen as a type of fiery serpent that is eating its own tail. It would be a smaller version of the exact same plasma which encircles the firmament. It's a type of Ouroboros, and the world-encircling serpent known in Norse mythology and history as Jormungandr. Because it's a dome in form covering both Mount Meru and Rupus Nigra and the surrounding island, it would also qualify as a type of angelic class known as the Cherubim, or the Cherubim, the cherubs. This is what is said in the biblical verse regarding... I lost my place. Hold on. Where is it? Damn, I just super lost my place in my own book. Oh, here we go. Let's see. This is what's said in the biblical verse regarding the flaming sword. Remember, there's a flaming sword that was, put at the entrance to Eden to guard it or whatnot. Cherubim are often called covering angels. This is because as a dome of electric energy, they covered both the Garden of Eden and the large magnetic plasma volcano, which is referred to as the throne/seat of God. They also appear to cover themselves by two pairs of wings, a pair reaching up and touching one another's tips through electrical arcing, and another pair which seem to reach down towards the ground. I believe that the cherubim are a type or a class, or choir, you could say, of electrical phenomenon that we call sprites, high above stronger storm systems, far above the lightning that we see sprites appear. These electromagnetic phenomenon are still being studied. Once rarely seen, and the stuff of myth and legend, they're making more appearances these days before the coming apocalypse. Pressure and temperature are increasing, and more gas is being released from within the earth, which becomes ionized, generating more powerful and longer-lasting forms of electricity and other types of currents and storm systems and stuff. Here's a description of the sprites as given by an online dictionary. And I quote, "They often occur in clusters of 2 or more and typically span the altitude range of 50 to 90 kilometers or 31 to 56 miles with what appear to be tendrils hanging below and branches reaching above." Now, also remind everybody of this. That's under these conditions. Imagine whenever we go through a pressure release and there's all of that vapor in the air and there's an influx of electromagnetic energy the world across, and then it gets trapped in here, right? So you can imagine that these sprites, which you can see on here, they just flash in the world we live in now, which they used to be never seen at all. Now they're starting to be filmed all of the time. And I don't believe it's because, oh, technology is that much better or whatever. It's because these things are occurring more. Let's see. Let's compare this modern description, which I just read, with an eyewitness account from a biblical prophet named Ezekiel. Ezekiel says their wings were stretched upward. 2 wings of every one were joined to one another, and 2 covered their bodies. Now, as you can see, the modern sprite matches the biblical description with the upward branches and the downward tendrils, acting as wings, oriented in the same directions. Ezekiel actually describes seeing an apocalyptic event take place in the north. Let's read this eyewitness description, keeping in mind what we have gone over about the island at the North Pole and about the events described in my first book, Ancient Oblivion, The Plasma Apocalypse. Now, this is Ezekiel, the prophet. One moment, please. Ezekiel says, "Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month and the 5th day of the month, I was among the captives by the river of Kavar, that the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire folding in on itself. And a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof was the color of amber, and in the midst of the fire, out of the midst of the fire. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. Thus were their faces, and their wings were stretched upwards. 2 wings of every one were joined one to another, and 2 covered their bodies. And they went, every one, straight forward. Wherever the Spirit was to go, they went, and they turned not when they went." Or they didn't bend and stuff like that. They just turned. I mean, wherever they went, I'm explaining this, but wherever they went was a straight line because we're dealing with electricity, right? So it's not like, actually, I'll explain it in the book. Never mind. Sorry. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire and like the appearance of lamps. It went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. They ran and they returned like as fast as light. Cherubs are also described as having their whole bodies covered with eyes all around. These eyes could be a reference to plasmoids, which are smaller magnetic vortices that wrap around themselves, which contain and confine plasma. These are commonly called ball lightning. These cherubs would never deviate from their path. As the prophet describes, they ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning, which is also the description for electricity following a current. Ezekiel also describes the cherubim as sparkling, and their wings making very loud sounds. This also describes electricity. Also, think about how this would be amplified. We're imagining it here with our conditions that we live in. Imagine whenever the conditions, allow for stuff like this to live much longer, be much bigger, and come much closer, right? I find it of note that Lucifer is referred to as an anointed cherub who covers by Ezekiel once again. Lucifer also means bringer of light. Of this entity, Ezekiel describes the location of the entity as being the Garden of Eden, the same as the serpent who tempted Eve. About this, Ezekiel says, "You were the anointed cherub who covers. I established you. You were on the holy mountain of God. You walked back and forth in the midst of the fiery or the glowing stones." I have more about those glowing stones as well. "You were perfect in all of your ways from the day that you were created until iniquity was found in you." Now, the word serpent does not mean snake, as in the animal. The word serpent is directly related to the word seraph or serap, which implies to glow, burning, and fiery, also radiant. These types of glowing fire undulated through the air like a flying snake. When the polarity shifted, the serpent was grounded. The seraphim, a class of angels just above the cherubim or the cherubim, share a similar description to the cherubs. 2 wings covering their faces, 2 wings covering their feet, and 2 wings to fly. They're also located above the throne of God, or the electrical arch, or the ark of the covenant. When the earth goes through an electromagnetic polarity shift, the flow of energy reverses direction. When the flow comes down from the heavens, it's pulled down into the earth. When that flow reverses direction, energy comes up from within the earth. When the energy goes up, so does the flaming sword, and the force field returns. When the energy goes down, the serpent, or plasma, is grounded, and the force field goes down. Ezekiel sees these things happening in the north, the direction of the polar island containing the Garden of Eden. It is the modern home of both geomagnetic anomalies and the aurora borealis, also called the Northern Lights, which is a segue into the next chapter, which you'll have to buy the book when I'm all done and it comes out so that you can read the next part. But that was it. That's the chapter. That's what I wanted to share with everybody. I don't have a lot more. Yeah, I'm thinking if I should do like questions and answers right now, or if I should just wrap that up. I didn't have a whole lot to I wasn't planning on like hanging out for a long time tonight. So I suppose what I'm saying is thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm JayDreamerZ saying good vibes and goodbye.
Time to wake up. It'd be Come